Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I am the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the blackbraziltoday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So today I want to talk a little bit about this video that I came across. It's been circulating around, certain excerpts of this interview with this actress, and she said quite a few, intriguing things in various parts of the interview. So I'm going to talk about one of these excerpts today and probably discuss a few more in the future. So let's get directly into this video. My father said he didn't believe in a blue-eyed God, says actress Roberta Rodrigues. Let's get into it. So this is actress Roberta Rodrigues. She's famous for a number of roles that she's had over the years. And as I just said, I saw an interview, just various pieces of an interview with her. And I want to talk about this particular one. I'm going to talk about some other ones in the future. So I came across a clip of an interview with the Prosa Choque YouTube channel, Brazilian YouTube channel, with the actress Roberta Rodrigues. Rodrigues is a well-known actress who has appeared in more than 30 Brazilian novellas and more than 15 films. She also sang with the Rio-based hip-hop group known as Melanina Carioca that featured other Black actors and singers. Between 2003 and 2022, she has been nominated 13 times in various award ceremonies for her work as an actress. In Brazil, she's made a name for herself in various roles, but for international audiences, many will remember her for her role as Berenice in the 2002 blockbuster film Cidade de Deus or City of God. I could explore more about her life and career, but today I wanted to focus on something she said in this interview. There are other excerpts that I will discuss in future videos, but right now I want to focus on this particular section. The topic brings to the fore the image of God and Jesus Christ. It's a topic that's been discussed for decades in relation to the effects on the psyches of Black people. In the United States, we know this discussion, but it should be known that as Brazil has one of the largest population of Catholics in the world, Black Brazilians were also taught to believe in a Jesus Christ with blonde hair and blue eyes. I will explore this in a minute, but right now I want to share what Rodrigues had to say on the topic. So this is what she said. Again, my father said he didn't believe in a blue-eyed God, says actress Roberta Rodrigues. Gonna just do a straight overdub of what she said in the interview and then come back and discuss a little bit more.
Eu lembro
I
do meu
remember my
pai tendo
father having
várias
various arguments
discussões,
when I
eu
was little
pequena,
because my father
meu
would
pai
start
começava a
talking.
conversar e todo
Everyone
mundo sempre
would
falava
always
de
talk
Deus. Meu
about
pai
God, and
falava
my
da
father
força
would say
divina.
he was a
E meu pai
divine
falava assim: "Eu
force,
não
and my
acredito
father would
nesse
say,
Deus branco
I
dos
don't
olhos
believe in
azuis."
this
Eu
white
lembro
God
disso
with blue
muito
eyes. I remember
pequenininha,
this when I was
muito
very little,
pequenininha.
very little.
E as
And
pessoas
people
falavam
would
assim:
say,
"Cara, você é
man, you're
maluco, olha
crazy.
o que você
Look at
tá
what you're saying, that
falando,
God wasn't,
que
that
Deus
he wasn't white,
não era
that I don't know
branco, que não
what.
sei o
That's
que,
what you
Deus,
mean.
isso é um
It's a
pecado."
sin,
Meu
and
pai
you
falava assim:
were. My
"Deus,
father used to say
Jesus
God,
Cristo era
Jesus Christ was
negro, onde ele
black. Where he
nasceu
was
não podia,
born,
não tinha
he
como."
couldn't.
Então eu
There was
sempre vi
no
meu pai
way that he
muito
could be
falando
white.
nesse lugar, e meu pai falava: "Por que ninguém fala de
So I
Zumbi?
always saw my father
Que
talking
foi o
about
nosso
this, and my
herói,
father
Zumbi, o
said,
verdadeiro
why doesn't
herói."
anyone talk about
Só que só
Zumbi, who
meu
was
pai
our
falava
hero?
isso, porque as
Zumbi,
pessoas
the
falavam que
real
meu pai era
hero.
maluco.
Only my
Eu
father
fico
said that
muito
because
emocionado com isso,
people say my
porque
father was
infelizmente
crazy.
nós
I'm very
pessoas
moved by
pretas,
this because
a
unfortunately
gente tem
it's
uma janela
we black
muito
people have
grande
a
que às
very
vezes a
large
gente não
window
consegue
which sometimes we
identificar
can't identify.
todo
All
esse
this process
processo
was
que foi
taken
retirado
away.
da gente,
All
tudo isso
this
que foi
that was
arrancado
ripped
da
away
gente,
from
né?
us. So anyway, a lot that Rodriguez said in just this small clip. I mean, she's basically saying a lot that we've all come to acknowledge, that because of the chains of slavery, a lot of things were ripped away from, the Black population, whether it be our names, our culture, our belief system. And these are all things that we've had to try to restore against a system that really doesn't want us to. It doesn't want us to know who we are, where we came from, our true origins, our place in history, these types of things. Religion and spirituality is just another piece of that is used to keep the African mind, indoctrinated. So why am I discussing this today? Well, before I get into this, let me first address the figure of Zumbi that Rodrigues mentioned in the interview. Zumbi dos Palmares is considered Brazil's greatest Black leader. In the 17th century, in the middle of Brazil's slavery era, Zumbi dos Palmares was the leader of the largest quilombo, or maroon society, of escaped fugitive slaves in the country. Located in the region of the northeastern states of Alagoas and Pernambuco, Palmares is said to have had a community of some 20,000 people, while other reports place the figure higher, and some place it lower. Zumbi was captured and killed in 1695, but still today, perhaps hundreds of institution groups, etc., bear his name, including Brazil's only black college, the Faculdade dos Zumbi dos Palmares, which is located in Sao Paulo. Now, getting back to what Roberta Rodrigues said in relation to the image of God in Jesus Christ, this was a topic I also had to deal with as a child, as I attended Catholic churches and Catholic schools. In a post from the Black Brazil Today blog, I discussed my recollections as a child. Baptized at a now defunct Catholic church on Detroit's west side, I still vividly remember always entering the church every Sunday and seeing from the back of the pews the enormous painting of what was supposed to be Jesus Christ standing with his arms stretched out in front of the Father, God himself. I have no idea how large that painting was, but from what I remember, even seeing it from a distance, it had to be anywhere from 10 to 12, maybe 15 feet tall. Jesus was the typical image that we had all become accustomed to. European in phenotype with long, straight brunette hair. You know, obviously, sometimes it's blonde, just that dark blonde look sometimes. The figure of God seemed to be as wide as Jesus was, appearing seated with a long white beard with his son standing in front of him between his knees. The image was quite imposing, almost frightening for anyone who saw it, including an 8-year-old black boy like myself. So I wanted to just feature the image in that Catholic church that I remember. You would see this, it was kind of like not the exact ceiling, but that the corner of the back on the wall that you would see this enormous image of what's supposed to represent God and Jesus Christ. You know, what is that? You know, what comes into your mind when you come to understand that God and his incarnate on earth, Jesus, were supposed to have looked like that? You know, it would be years before I actually started questioning that. I don't remember any time when I was a kid that anybody actually had questions about that. It was just kind of accepted when I was a kid that that's what this figure of Jesus Christ was supposed to have looked at, what he was supposed to have looked like. I've also touched on famous and fictional images that have been portrayed as white in Brazil. As the country was colonized by Europeans and also indoctrinated with Eurocentric values, the image of a white man with blonde or brunette hair is also very much prevalent in Brazil. The image of a European-looking Mary is also a common sight in films, television series, plays, and thousands of statues that one can find across Brazil. The African deity known as Iemanjá, the goddess of the sea, has also been presented as a white woman in Brazilian art. Although we know that white men have always played Jesus Christ in most American productions, today I want to focus on Brazilian media productions that have been viewed by millions of Brazilians for decades. A few Brazilian actors who have portrayed Jesus Christ, who is known as Jesus Cristo in Brazil, are Dudu Azevedo, Luigi Baricelli, Igor Hickley, Juliano Casaré, and Renato Goes, to name a few. These actors have portrayed Jesus in films, novellas, and theater productions. In fact, the actor Dudu Azevedo has played Jesus 3 times in the 2018 novella Jesus, again in the 2018-2019 novella Apocalipse, and again in the 2021 novella Genesis, right? Here is a global website that featured just a few of those actors in their roles as Jesus Cristo. So I have a couple links here. The saga of Jesus Christ ends on Record TV on Segunda-feira. This is from April 22nd of 2019. The actor who's playing Jesus Cristo or Jesus Christ, Dudu Azevedo. As I said, this guy played Jesus Christ in 3 different novellas. You know, the piece that I was just reading from also mentioned another novella known as Genesis. That's another novella focusing on obviously biblical times. And here, from this the G-Show global website, you have Fabio Assunção, Renato Goes, and more. Remember the actors who played the role of Jesus in Paixão de Cristo, which you can kind of translate. You can see it's the Passion of the Christ. These are just 3 of the actors right here, but there are several. This is an article that just talks about how many Brazilian actors have played Jesus Christ in various productions. Here you have Gabriel Braga Nunes from 2022. He played in the Paixão de Cristo, or the Passion of the Christ. You have Caco Cioclair from 2020, another depiction of Jesus. You have Juliano Casare from 2019, also in the Paixão de Cristo in 2019. You have Renato Goes in 2018. Let me see if I can see. Looks like the same production. You have Romulo Arantes Neto in 2017, also playing Jesus. Then you have Igor Hickley from 2015, 2016 in a theater production. You have Fabio Assunção in 97, 98. Let me see the name of that, Paixão de Cristo. Then you have, who is this? This is Fabio Assunção in the role of Jesus. So as you can see, they're, cementing the idea of Jesus as a man with a European appearance. Brazil has partaken in that also. It's pretty clear that that's the image that they want people to have. When I used to go to the Pelourinho area, and this is not just in Salvador Bahia, I'm talking about any place where you have art, you have statues or paintings, you're going to see depictions of Jesus and his mother Mary. And I'm going to say 99% of the time, you're going to see them portrayed as Europeans. Okay. So, I mean, what is the importance of this? I've said this for a long time, and others, psychologists have talked about this as well, how art plays such an important role in one's psyche. You go see a movie or a television show. This is like a interpretation of life. So then if people believe that God is supposed to look like a white man, or Jesus Christ who's supposed to look like a white man, then that gives people an almost interpretative look upon persons who look like Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is portrayed as a European man, so thus his representatives on earth look like Europeans. So, a lot of people have argued over the years, like, okay, well, whatever society you go to, the people of that particular society or that particular culture or country, they should have deities or gods that look like themselves. But in order to keep the African enslaved mentally, Eurocentric societies will always use Jesus Christ depicted as a white man, because that's one of the ways of keeping people psychologically enslaved. Okay. So for years now, numerous voices have brought into question the question of the historical accuracy of portraying Jesus with a European phenotype. The first time I can remember the question being brought up was in the 1970s sitcom Good Times. If you remember, the boy, the youngest son in the house, Michael, was trying to convince his mother, like, look, he had a painting of Jesus that portrayed Jesus as clearly a black man. And his mother, Florida, played by Esther Rolle, was arguing with him, like, you're not replacing, this is the Jesus that I know. And she knew him as a traditional European looking Jesus. I was going to a Catholic church at the time, and I just remember it was the first time that somebody had made a point like that I knew about. Now, years later, I would come to question my own convictions, and I would have a complete change of heart in terms of how I deal with religion, but that's not a topic for today. In 1992, the Spike Lee production of the film Malcolm X also brought this question to the fore in a memorable scene in which Malcolm X challenged a priest on what Jesus must have looked like, concluding that Jesus was not a paleface. Okay, so Brazilians have watched the Malcolm X film as well. You see, a lot of American productions you'll see with either Portuguese subtitles or it's overdubbed in Portuguese by Brazilian actors. So in that scene, the priest actually argues that Jesus's appearance is obvious, referring to the various paintings that portray Jesus as a white man, which is the point that I'm making. You don't have to tell people that Jesus was white when you have hundreds, if not thousands, of depictions of Jesus in paintings and in statues and in films and television series and soap operas. If you see that person depicted as white, it's no need to say that. It's already going to be embedded in somebody's psyche. So just as a side note, as Brazilians consume so much American media, it should come as no surprise that the Malcolm X film is available with Portuguese subtitles and also overdubbed in Portuguese. The clips of the Malcolm X film with Portuguese overdubs and subtitles have been watched by perhaps millions of Black Brazilians, along with the other Malcolm X speeches. You see one here where Malcolm's famous question, it says, "Who taught you to hate yourself?" Right? Quem te ensinou a odiar-se a si? In Portuguese. Then you have subtitles in the Malcolm X film starring Denzel Washington. And this led to another conversation in Black Brazilian circles. This is called Negro da Casa, where this guy, he's explaining to somebody else in that particular clip. You had the Negro de Casa, the house Negro, then you had the Negro de Campo, the field Negro. So as I said, as you can see here, a lot of people have watched this clip. 235,000 people watched that particular clip. So in the rising Black consciousness in Brazil, a lot of it does come from being exposed to Africans and African American, leaders. Black Brazilians have long had their own leaders, but I would say access to figures like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Nelson Mandela are almost more accessible for them. But with the onset of the internet, the question of racial consciousness really started to become widespread, and Malcolm X was one of the main figures that a lot of Black Brazilians started checking out. The issue concerning the appearance of Jesus has been a hot topic for a number of years in Brazil as well. Sociologist Paula Barreto explains, the deities are becoming embranquecidas, or whitened, as they become popular. It happened also with Jesus Christ, who would never have had auburn hair and light eyes, being a man from the Middle East at that time, says Barreto, a professor at the Federal University of Bahia in the northeast of the country. So this is a still. There was a comedy in 2000 in Brazil. They have their own film industry. And this is the actor Mauricio Gonçalves. He's the son of the famed actor Milton Gonçalves. I did a video about him a couple of weeks ago. But this film is from 2000, if I'm not mistaken. It says the sociologist continues, Jesus Christ would never have auburn hair and light eyes, says sociologist Paula Barreto. Apparently, his portrayal by a Black actor in the Brazilian comedy O Alto da Compadecida is far more factual than that of the popular A Paixão de Cristo, meaning the Passion of Christ, and Jesus de Nazaré, or Jesus of Nazareth. Okay, remember, these are often American films that have been, translated into Portuguese. If they don't completely remake it with a Brazilian production, you have the American productions. So, as I said, the 2000 film features actor Mauricio Gonçalves in the role of Jesus Christ. So, just curious to know what you all thought about today's video. It's an ongoing discussion. It's not a new discussion, but I'm intrigued that Roberta Rodrigues was talking about this as well, and her memories of her father talking about this. Like I said, I was probably, like I said, Good Times was the first time I heard this discussion that Jesus could have looked like a Black man. And then later on, as I got more into studies and I started looking at Jesus as more of a mythical figure, it just became important to me to understand, the idea of religion versus spirituality. So I just wanted to leave that there because this is a discussion that goes on in Brazil as well, particularly in such a large Catholic country. So what did you think about this video? Drop a comment in the comment section. Like this video, share this video, click on that notification bell so you'll be alerted when I put up new videos. Consider subscribing to this channel. Maybe drop a couple dollars in the Cash App. You see it there. Or if you like, make a super thanks. Every dollar that you contribute is definitely appreciated. And with that said, I'm going to end this video here and request that you all come back and check out the next video that I post.